Happy Friday and welcome to Step 3 Consulting's Friday podcast. I am super excited about our guest today. I cannot wait to get started talking with Kevin Fernandez about the big goals that we need to set. So let's get going. Hi, and welcome again to all of you who are watching us live today. We encourage you to make comments. And for those of you that are watching it on the replay, I know that you're going to enjoy this as well. I encourage you to go and find me on YouTube at Step 3 Consulting. Make sure to click that little bell and subscribe so that you know when we're going to go live. Fridays at 12 o'clock. We've got some great people coming up in the weeks to come. So I hope you get looking for that. We're going to talk about real quick before I introduce our guest today about what Step 3 has got going on for the month of June. We have got a special coming up that I want to talk about, which is your cultural wellness checks. So at the office, you got a lot going on. Wouldn't it be nice to know what your retention rate looks like? What are the office conflict levels, your team affability, your culture, your workplace? Not always are they so open to tell you about that. Be nice to know who's going to stay, if you've got some people leaving, those kind of things. So let us come in and diagnose those things, come up with an action plan for you, and coach you through those things so that you have a better communication, more engagement going on in the office so that you're working better. I can tell you all the numbers that make sense for that and how many billions we lose a year because we don't communicate well. And we'd love to do that for you. Come in and kind of give a wellness check as to where you are. But let's talk about who we're going to talk about today and talk with, which is Kevin Fernandez of L2 Mindset. A little background on Kevin, born and raised in Puerto Rico. But when he was 18, he said, I am going to move to the United States. And he started in the insurance industry. He spent almost a decade in that. And in that time, he was in the top 5% of insurance agents worldwide. Very few of us can say that, I would say. He did very well in that. And then in January of 2021, he really set out to make his dreams come true of being a speaker and a coach. And he launched L2 Mindset. And during that time, he has had such wonderful results. And in 15 months, he has touched over 300 individuals through his coaching, his speaking, his mastermind classes. I am one of those individuals. I can say clearly that he has made an impact on me. I'm very excited to start in his L2 Mind Master Class group session this next week. I can't wait to get to talk to him. I almost forgot all his other credentials, Kevin. It just goes on and on. He and I are both, I love knowledge. And he does too. Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield, certified trainer, DISC practitioner through John Maxwell's leadership team. If you were wanting some knowledge, today was the day. If you have questions, I want you to ask them. I want you to come on through and chat with us. So please help me welcome Kevin Fernandez.
Woo-hoo! Cameron, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited. I hear the crowds just. That's one thing I haven't figured. I've got to figure out how to have that little button. I know I can do it. Where they have like the clapping.
Yeah.
I'll probably just do it for myself.
That'll be awesome. Yeah, that'll be awesome for the next guy.
I'll probably just do it for myself and Cameron.
Yeah. You should for sure.
You're too young to remember this probably. Did you ever, I don't even know. I don't know if this is a thing in Puerto Rico, but I grew up watching Designing Women because in the South, I mean, obviously, look at this. I'm Suzanne Sugarbaker, but do you even know what I'm talking about? Have no idea. Okay, Georgia on My Mind would play, and it was the South. They were in Atlanta, Georgia, and they were all this, and they had a design firm, and one of the episodes was about, we wish we just had that little box and it would just be applause. And at the end of the episode, one of the ladies got a little, like, it was like a music box, but you opened it and it was applause.
Nice.
Yeah. But
you have to. Very nice.
It was. If you ever want to just up your Southern culture, you can watch Old Designing Women. You'll be like, that's where Cameron gets it. Well, I'm so excited for you to be here. One of the things that we talked about before we came on here, both of us being coaches, both of us coaching people. When I went to your master class, I was like, okay, let's hear what he's got to say, and I thought SMART goals. Everybody knows SMART goals. Done them. Talked to my clients about them. Attainable, measurable. But you blew my mind. I want you to talk to our audience about it. The big goals. I never thought about it.
Yeah, no, I've been a practitioner of SMART goals for a very long time, and I've always heard about it, right? And there's nothing wrong with setting SMART goals, right? Where what I was giving a different perspective on is the fact that you need to set goals that excite you, that inspire you.
Yes.
And if that SMART goal is not exciting enough, then at the first moment that you experience a setback, you're probably going to quit because, again, you're not emotionally involved with the idea. You're not excited. You're not inspired. And so business is hard, whether you in your own business or a career in working at a company, it doesn't matter. Like, business is hard. And if you're not going after something that is truly exciting, then you don't have the passion that's going to drive through those obstacles and those setbacks that you will encounter. It's not a matter of you encounter them. It's a matter of when you encounter them. And so I'm a huge believer on setting big, audacious goals. Jim Collins called them BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals. But
writing this down, Jim Collins. Okay.
Yeah, I believe it was in Good to Great. He talks about BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals, and goals that excite you, that like you get up in the morning and you're thinking about that goal, you're obsessed about that goal. I think a lot of people, they have this negative connotation about the word obsession or being obsessed with something, but I think there's healthy obsessions, right? I mean, like, if you're obsessed with being healthy, that's a good obsession. If you're obsessed with being a great husband or wife or partner, that's a great obsession. If you're obsessed with being a great community leader, a great leader, that's a great obsession. So I think when it comes to your goal, the right type of goal will cause you to be obsessed over it. You're thinking about it constantly. That's why, a lot of successful people, they say, like, well, I work 24/7. Now, does that mean that they're at the office in front of a computer or out in the yard doing whatever labor 24/7? No, it just means that they're thinking about their idea, about their business all the time, because they're literally obsessed. They're in love with it, right? When I say, like, you're emotionally involved, like, you're in love with this idea. And so that is where I come from. Like, if that SMART goal causes you to be excited and inspired, then by all means go with it. But if it doesn't, then what will get you excited? So I'll say this, though. I do think that SMART goals have a place no matter what, because here's the thing. Like, when I talk about setting a goal that truly excites you, that inspires you, I talk about setting a goal that you have no idea how you're going to accomplish.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people have a hard time grasping that concept because they're taught to, like, I'll believe it when I see it. And it's the opposite, right? When you believe it, you will see it.
Well, I think it comes to that imposter syndrome, right? I know for me, and I've had clients, it's like, well, okay, if I say instead of, like, you gave this perfect, instead of, okay, I know I made 100,000 this year. SMART goal is a 20% increase, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay, I can say that because but if I say I'm going to double it, well, I feel imposter because, oh, that's too much, or so that yeah.
Or what if
maybe they're I've had clients who like, oh, I'm lying. No, you're not lying. It's the arrow back. Right? The aim high. You tell me if I'm speaking out of turn. Go ahead.
No, here's the thing. I mean, I tell people all the time, I'm like, at first, you're going to feel like you're lying when you're saying what you want as if it's already achieved, right? Because, like, I remember when I came out of college, I remember thinking, if I can get a job that I can make $40,000 a year, I'm going to be set for life, because growing up, I had a family member that made 40 grand a year, and she had what I perceived to be a phenomenal lifestyle back in the 90s. So I had that idea in my head. And then in the first year in my insurance business, I made a little over $53,000. And at the end of the year, I look at my bank account and there's no money there. And I'm like, hold up. Like, I thought 40,000 a year was going to get me set for life, and here I am making more than that. And that's a lie, right? So I was like, okay, what are the other lies I've been telling myself? Like, let me revisit
50 ain't what it used to be, is it?
Yes.
I remember that too, though. It's so true. Like, I remember first, it's like if we could just make 40 or 50, it would be so amazing. And I mean, part of it's just life and economy and stuff like that.
100%. And, something that, like, I used to think like, oh, if I become a millionaire, like, I'm going to be set for life, right? Same level of thinking.
Right.
And like you mentioned earlier, I started my career in the insurance business. I got my investments license, became a licensed financial advisor and all that stuff. And what I've seen over the years is that just becoming a millionaire, meaning like having $1 million in assets today, it's not enough. It's not enough. Like, you need to 10x that target if you are looking to retire in 15, 20 years, 30 years and be comfortable, because as inflation keeps going up, I mean, like, $1 million does not do that much anymore. You think about it in a large sum, yes, it's a lot of money, but it's not that you have $1 million to spend this year. That's supposed to last you for a long time.
I just saw a local real estate agent posted warehouses. I used to be in real estate, and like where the median or average house was like, for our area in Huntsville, Alabama, 333,000, and the most growth was like between 500,000 and 800,000. I remember when I was in real estate, which I decided to do that in 2008. There was a bubble burst. I like a challenge, 8 to 13, but I'm thinking, wow, that it used to be like 160, 170, and now it's, you're looking at 300s. I mean, just stuff. So you start talking, a $500,000 house now is somewhat average, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, it is the average. It is the average, right? And so we have to expand our thinking. That's really the biggest thing about setting big goals, right? Because our current reality is based on our personality, right? Like, our personality creates our personal reality. That is something that I learned from Dr. Joe Dispenza, and it's so true, right? Like, our personality, what is our personality? It's the way that we think, feel, and act, right? And so our thoughts are determining our reality, which is our results, our environment. So my environment is something that I co-created, that I attracted via the level of thinking. And so if I want to create better results, I have to create higher level thoughts, higher frequency thoughts, right? So if you think about like our level of thinking in terms of like frequencies, right? Like, cell phones work on frequencies, right? Like, if I dial your number, I'm going to get you. Right. If I misspell one number, If I mess up one number, like I'm gonna get totally completely different, right?
Right.
Just
Right.
by being off by one little digit. Right. So
Mhm.
it's the same thing with our thinking, right? Like we think on frequencies. And so somebody who's making $40,000 a year, they're having $40,000 a year thoughts. That's very different than someone
Yeah.
who's making $40,000 a month or
Mhm.
$5 million a year or whatever the number is, right? Like if I want to improve my results, it all starts with my thinking. So like
Absolutely.
here's the thing, like a lot of people say, well, I want to make my goal is $100,000 or whatever that number is. But in reality, like they're expressing a wish. It's
Mhm.
almost like it would be nice to have it, but I'm not totally committed to doing the work required to make it happen. And so to me, like when I'm talking to a client, I'm like, when I'm talking about goals, I'm talking about like setting a goal for something that like you will do whatever it takes to make happen. So if that's 50,000, then set that as the goal. If that's 500,000, set that as the goal. I'm not going to tell you what the number needs to be, what the goal needs to be. I'm just saying a goal should be like an objective that it's not like, oh, well, I hit 70% of my goal or 80% of my goal. No, how about we look at it as a mission? Like you either failed or you succeeded.
You're really good. You know, it reminds me when as you're talking about this. Okay, so before this life, I was a performer, a music performer. I have a singing degree and all of that. And one of the things that I had to kind of overcome, and you played baseball, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I have a son who's a baseball player too, and he had it's a mental game, right?
Yeah.
Totally a mental game. You step in that box, and I tried to explain it because he thinks, "Oh, mom, you're a musician. You don't know anything about this." Because I'm not athletic at all. I'm like, it's the same thing. And when you're talking about this energy, it reminds me of there's a book been read by millions of people. The the winning game. It's the zen of playing basically tennis, but it's been used for everything.
Oh, is it the inner game?
The inner game,
Something like
yes.
that. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, yes. The inner game. So my voice professor gives me this book because it really has nothing to do. It's not about the tennis swing. It's not about the baseball swing. It's not about the sing. It's about, and when you're talking about, because when athletes are in the zone,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what I mean, when you can step in that box and you understand that and I always would tell him, I'm like, you've hit the ball over the fence many times.
Yes.
Stop. Your body already knows how to hit it over the fence. You're just you're overthinking it, right?
Yeah.
Every muscle in your body, it's already been proven that you can do it. And I think we in business and sales, what do we do often? Instead of, but when you can get that, when you're talking about that vibration, when you can get in the zone
Yeah.
of positivity, of this is what it's going to be. I am going to be at this level. I am going to do these things. It reminds me very much of that because when I was, and it's the same with singing, and my son never believed me, but I'm like, it's the same internal fight.
Mm.
You're thinking about over the fence, or I got to hit a home run, or whatever. I'm thinking I've got to hit the high note at the end of the aria. That used to be my thing. I would be singing and thinking of the end. Oh God, there's a high A. There's high A. There's a high A. But you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's so fun. I bet you would have thought about that, but I'm not paying attention to the things I'm doing right now because I'm thinking of that, and then I'm messing it up. And I think it's fascinating, the brain, which brings us right into a book that I started reading because of getting your mind in the right place.
Yes.
Like you said, instead of 40,000, a million, or whatever that is for you.
Well, let me ask you, I mean, like, if you set a goal, right, for making $40,000 in your business, you start looking at everything from those lens.
Yes.
Right? You start looking at like, well, this get me to 40,000? Will this get me to 40,000? Will this get me closer? Will this get me closer? And so everything is based on that target. And so everything that you look at, every decision that you make is based on that. So when you work with a coach or you read a book or somebody challenges you to think bigger and they're like, what if you could turn your annual income into your monthly income? Right? Mm-hmm. That question will trigger a new level of thinking. And what will happen is if you allow yourself to get emotionally involved with that idea and decide to really go after it, you're going to realize that a lot of the things that you've done, you have to destruct completely in order to move on to the next level, because what you built was based on getting to 40,000 a year, not a month.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's going to cost you to think differently. But then what's going to happen is you're going to hit a barrier, right? Which is our self-image, which is going to say like, who are you to be making that kind of money? Who are you to like be making $40,000 a month? There are people that don't make that a year. Like, why should you earn that? Like, why do you deserve that? Like, you don't have this knowledge, or you don't have this degree, or you don't have this experience. Like, you'll have all this like negative conflicting beliefs in your mind. That's comprised. That's what the self-image is comprised, right? Like, our self-image is the way that we see ourselves internally. Like, our self-image determines how far we go in life, right? Like, our self-image is based on what we believe. So this is something that my coach told me, and I've been like telling it to myself over and over. And I tell to my clients was, what you believe, you will prove. What you believe, you will prove. So
same thing with the performing. Exactly.
It's not what you think casually.
Yes.
It's what you believe. It's what you will prove. Right? Like, if you say like, well, I think I can make $100,000 a year, but you don't believe it, it's not going to happen. If you believe that you're meant to make 40 or 50, right? Because what happens is, as soon as you start making some progress toward 100, your self-image is going to kick in and slow you down, whether it's unconsciously or consciously, right? Because our self-image is like a thermostat. Like, if the room is set for 70 degrees, it should be 70 degrees, right? But if I open a window and it's very hot out there, it's likely that it might get to 75, 76 degrees in here. But then what's going to happen? The thermostat is going to kick in and it's going to bring it back down to 70 over time. So, for example, if a salesperson is making $50,000 a year and that's what their thermostat, their mental thermostat is set to, and suddenly one quarter they have a great quarter and they do $20,000 or $25,000 in the first quarter of the year, they're going to take it easy. They're going to relax. They're going to say like, like, this is not normal. Like, I'm not the type of person that makes 25,000. I just made half my year goal in a quarter. So I'm going to take it easy now. Right? Like, they might choose to do that consciously, or they might do it unconsciously where they just slow down.
Yes, exactly. I think it's so. My coach in Las Vegas is so funny. We were talking about that, and you were talking about that at the mastermind. I thought of her because she had these clients in Florida, and he would, every time he got to this threshold, and I can't remember what the number, all of a sudden it would start going down. She's like, gosh, I get him up to this number and then it goes down. I get him up to this number and then he backs off. He can't break this. And so she calls him. She says, I want you to do this. She says, tomorrow morning, I'm going to fly through the night. I'm going to be there tomorrow morning. Meet me at your bank. Have all these things ready. And so, okay. So they meet her there. It's crazy. And she says to the banker, can you basically... She made it where they never saw. She said, what's important? Do you want to go on vacation? Okay. You want to give, they were big charity people. You want to give to charity? You want to do this? You want to do. So she set it up, they signed off on it to where the man never saw his account go above this. You see? So he's looking, oh, it's just 40,000, well, just 40,000, just 40,000, whatever. But the banker is taking extra and go, boom, vacation, boom, college, boom, charity, boom, new house, whatever. At the end of the year, they had blown all these accounts out of the water. They went on like a European vacation. They gave more to their charity than they had. They were like, oh my gosh. They paid all the college for their child. All this stuff because he never saw it. So he never thought, oh, I'm making too much subconsciously and pull back. He thought, oh, just make it 40. Just keep going. Oh, 40. Keep going. That's how she tricked him. Yeah. And I'm like, but that is the power of which we got to bring this up here. So this was what you were talking about at the was this psycho cybernetics. And I just started it, which talks about that a lot.
Yeah, and absolutely. I've had this book for a few years, and it was recommended by some. I can't remember who recommended it to me, but I mean, as soon as I picked it up and I read it, I mean, I knew that this was like such powerful information, because what happens is a lot of companies, a lot of corporations, they train people on what to do and how to do it, and then their people don't do it, and then they're so frustrated, right? But if they understood that their people's performance is not as much affected by knowing what to do and how to do it, but by their self-image, then they would spend more time making sure that the self-image of the individual is improving, is getting better, so that then they actually execute on the strategy that the company has set forth for them.
I love it. I over and over and over again. I was talking to a great lady here in town, big construction coach. She's CFO. She's got a master's from Harvard, and she goes in, deals with people when when the money's, messed up and all this, and maybe some people need to be fired and whatever. She says, Cameron, it always comes down to the people. Always comes down to the people. Their thought patterns stuff. So I highly recommend that.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, have you ever heard of a company that is doing $1 million a year of revenue, and they sell it to someone, and that person comes in and turns that company into $5 or $10 million of revenue in a relatively short amount of time, right? It happens. Now, did the market improve? I mean, like, it could have, but like probably not that much that the market is the main reason why that business blew up like that.
Right.
And you've also seen the opposite, where somebody might buy a $5 million company and over time turn into a $1 million company or $500,000 company, because the chokehold to any business, to any corporation, is the psychology of the leader, is the mindset. So the only thing that is holding the growth of your business, of your company, of your career, it's yourself, it's your mindset. Like, if you are able to shift your perspective, then you're able to shift the way that you train and manage your people, the way that you see them, right? I'm a huge believer, again, I'm believing is seeing. So like, the problem with most people is that they let their people's results affect the image that they have for them. So for example, I interview someone, I think they're a great fit for my company, for what I need them to do. Let's say it's a sales role, because that makes it easy. And suddenly they start, and they're not producing at the level that I thought they would. It would be easy for me to look at the results and convince myself, well, maybe that's all that they're capable of. And that's what most people do. They think like, oh, I just hired the wrong person. No, I mean, I'm not saying that you didn't hire the wrong person, but don't just chalk it up to that right away. Like, more often than not, that can be solved. So as a leader, one of the biggest things that we need to do as leaders is to hold the vision of the highest self of each person that is in our team. So when I'm interacting with you, Cameron, I'm not interacting with who you are today, who based on the results that you're getting. I'm
Mhm.
interacting with the Cameron that I see that is like at your highest self, at your highest potential, a level 10 Cameron, even if right now you might consider yourself level 5 in terms of the results that you're getting in business or whatever it might be, right? Because what happens is the way that I see you, the way that I talk to you influences the way you think about yourself, therefore influences the actions that you take or don't take, influences your results. So if I'm speaking to you as someone who can do $1 million a year in business, and I'm speaking that to you, and I'm convicted in that you're gonna pick up that energy. You're gonna believe that, even if you don't believe it, you're gonna believe that I believe it for you, and
Absolutely.
and you're able to borrow that belief, borrow that conviction, and go and do it. And once you do it, you create the evidence. And once you have the evidence, then it's easy for you to believe it. Man, we say the best
Amen.
class.
I decided to make, so high I. It doesn't even matter if it is a hypothetical. I'm still so happy. It's so true, though. It is my mission and my goal. It's like we've all had those bosses or whatever that's just, you just like, if you could just see, I have this beautiful story that Simon Sinek tells about being at like hi Valerina, this he's at the Four Seasons, and the Four Seasons is amazing, right? And there is a like a bartender, and every time he's like, hi, can I help you, what can we do for you? Like everywhere he goes, the people, the staff is just amazing, and it's just so pleasant. I guess, you could relate it to like Chick-fil-A. It's my pleasure, right?
Yeah.
And so he gets to talking because it's his job. He's into people and work and all this. And so he's up at the bar and he's like, hey, how's it going? Da, da, da. And the waiter ends up kind of talking about that he also works at a different location. Oh, it's Las Vegas. Yeah. Because he works on the strip at another one. He was like, yeah, it's not like that there. He's like, I just kind of keep my head down and try to, and I'm like, and Simon's like, really? And he said, yeah, here they're always like, how can I help you? Kevin, how do you have everything you need, Kevin? How can we, the managers, just like you said, are constantly like, what can we do to make you better? What can we do to help you? I was getting chill bumps thinking about it because it's just my heart and soul. So that shows. And he said, but at the other place, everybody's heads down. They're not giving that kind of service because he said, we get in trouble. The managers are constantly, oh, you didn't do this, or oh, you didn't do that. So they live in fear of just missing one little thing. So they just all hunch down and do it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there it is. There it is. So the same person, it's the exact same person.
Yeah.
A person doesn't change from one hotel to the other. Same person.
Same person.
Total different output. It's like you said,
Yes.
and the boss wants to say, well, they're not giving me the production. I hired the wrong person. No, you didn't.
Yes.
You as a leader are not you're not getting that. You're not being, the caretaker of that person. It's just beautiful.
There's a saying that says there are no bad teams, there are only bad leaders, right? And that is a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, right? I mean, if you think about like professional sports, is the best way to look at it, right? Like when a team is struggling, for the most part, they don't get rid of every player on the team and start from scratch. No, they might adjust some of the players, but they get rid of the coach. They bring in another coach, right?
Yeah, it's true.
And how many times have you seen a player in any sport get released by a team to then be picked up by another team and suddenly skyrockets into a rock star?
What a great, yes.
Right? Like that person had that talent, that potential there the whole time. It just took that other team, that leader, that manager, that culture to pull that out of that person.
You're exactly right. I never thought that is Kevin, brilliant. Yes. It's my life where I just, if you could just understand, and I even tell people about, and DISC very well, but people who are high A type or whatever. And I'm like, no one's really bad. They're just afraid. Mm-hmm. If you can understand their fear, and we talk, they're afraid of being out of control. Our engineers in this town were like, they got to know everything. I'm like, no, it's not you. It's like, I might sign something and it might not be correct. Oh, it's their fear, so that's great. Oh my gosh. Well, we're a little bit over time, but I thought, good stuff. You are amazing. We want to talk about, I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited. Monday. Love homework. So tell the people about this.
So this is a community of people that we have built. We have about 1,300 members on this L2 Mindset Facebook group, and this is the way that we're truly trying to grow our reach, to get the message out there, to make a difference. And so L2 Mindset, to me, is very, very personal. I know that I've shared with you offline that L2 Mindset, love yourself, lead yourself, is something that I came up with for myself, because I was struggling with self-doubt. I was struggling with having the courage to do the things that I really wanted to do with my life, to go after the dreams that I had. And I had to remind myself daily that, like, you are worth it and you deserve to have life exactly how you want it. Like, don't settle. And that's where, like, loving yourself comes in, and building confidence and having this courage and the strength to pursue the things that you want to pursue, not let other people get in the way of that. And then lead yourself. Again, that's having the discipline and the courage to do the things that are uncomfortable to get to the next level. So I'm obviously extremely passionate about L2 Mindset and the message and the idea behind it. And so L2 Mindset, we created this Facebook group, which is a way to get involved. And I share content every week and just pour into people. And it's free and it doesn't cost anything. And it's just a way to really get involved with like-minded people that are want to be part of a community that they get encouraged and celebrated for their successes versus judged or criticized when they're trying to do big things, which is unfortunately in our society happens a lot.
It does. And this is how you can reach Kevin at L2mindset.com. I love it. As a business coach, I love it. It's simple and easy. You don't have to learn how to spell Fernandez, which I've been nervous about all week. I'm like, Fernandez, his name. Also, you can just call or text Kevin. He is very available. I just love that about him. There's his number. You can join this group. Please do that. If you're watching live, you're watching the replay, these are great ways to get in touch with him. Find out about master classes that he has going on. He always has things like that going on. Of course, he is a coach for individuals and businesses. As you can see, he's very smart, does a great job with that. We just appreciate you being here. And phenomenal guests, phenomenal information. I appreciate you so much. And
thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you later. So we are going to say goodbye to Kevin and wrap this up for today. Our Friday has been amazing. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you're watching it again, I thank you for being here. Join us again next Friday when we are going to have, Mary Ann Wyndham. I had to think about my schedule a little bit. Mary Ann Wyndham from Wyndham Travel and Leisure. What's on your bucket list? So we are going to be talking about that and how you can get ready for summer and Christmas travel and things in the future. Again, please subscribe to my channel. You can catch me at Cameron at step3consulting.com. You can also call me if you need to catch up with me. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it and look forward to seeing you Monday for Monday's motivation. Have a great weekend.